All right, this is a damn the headphones kind of night. Ethan Skolnick here on the fourth floor, an extension to 5 on the floor here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Our producer Alejandro Villegas. We've got Brady Hawk. We've got Jonathan Ramlicon. We've got Greg Sylvander. I think Ricky's under the weather, so he may join us tomorrow perhaps. Sponsored as always by our friends at Biscayne Bay Brewing. Make sure you ask for it by name. They have the #1 IPA in March at Whole Foods. #1. Somebody's drinking it for a reason. Ask for it whether you're at Publix, whether you're at Whole Foods, whether you're at the arena, whether you're at the stadium, if you happen to go to Marlins Park or Lone Depot Stadium or whatever. If you're there, make sure that you check out Biscayne Bay Brewing. Our good friends support Miami craft beer, support local business, support business that supports us. I'm going to have a couple tonight because I think I need it to get through this game. All right. Also sponsored by our friend Lynette, insurancebyLynette.com, 954-581-8800, 954-581-8800. If you have a bad driving record, reach out to Lynette. If you just want to talk about the heat, reach out to Lynette. She's educated in both areas. 954-581-8800. Also sells all kinds of other insurance. She can certainly help you out. She helped me out. So check it out, insurancebyLynette.com. I'm not the one with a bad driving record. All right, let's get to it. The Heat are 10.5-point favorites tonight. Stomach illness going through the locker room, but it basically hit two guys that don't play, Haslam and Bielitsa. No Oladipo on the trip. No Hero on the trip. Is anyone playing for Cleveland? Brady? Anyone? Bueller?
Yeah, a few guys. Headliners, Dean Wade, Colin Sexton, and Jared Allen, probably the headliners. And then obviously no Garland and a no to a lot of the role players.
And no Kevin Love in spirit, right, Greg? Like, I mean.
Yeah, he is done with Cleveland, and I don't blame him. He's been, in a weird predicament there where he took the money, and then that franchise has just been a mess. I would imagine he'd eventually get moved or bought out or something like that. But he looked particularly lacking spirit in the last game. What was it, 22 minutes and not a stat with it?
That's after he said Cleveland till I die, which was his response to basically inbounding to the other team on purpose.
Yeah, it's been a rough go.
Yeah, I covered Kevin for one season, and I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan. I'm a fan of a lot of the work he's done, community work, but I'm not a huge fan of the way he comports himself as a teammate. And Greg, I know you say you don't blame him. He's making $31 million this year. I mean, show up and play. Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't.
It's a fair point.
I feel like there's a little bit of a double standard here. I think Kevin's getting the benefit of the doubt from the media for a couple of different reasons, which one of which I don't like so much. But anyway, that it is what it is. All right, so who can hurt them tonight, Jonathan? Who can hurt them on Cleveland? Give me the random scrub heat killer. Is it that guy? What does Eric Reed call Dean Wade? That player from Cleveland or something like that?
Yeah, what do they call him? 32 from Cleveland?
Yeah,
something
he wouldn't
like
call
whatever
him
his
by
number
his
is.
name. Yeah,
I was looking at the names on the list. I like Mfiondu Kabengele. I'm liking that one. I'm
he's
liking
actually a
Isaiah
decent
Hartenstein.
prospect.
He's shooting 40% from deep, so
yeah.
Maybe that's one of those things where he just comes off and hits like 43s off the bench.
But to be serious here, like, I mean, if we had any confidence in the Heat at all to be focused and take care of business, like, we wouldn't even have had a pregame show. Like, I mean, literally, like, this should be a 30-point win, like, for a good team.
Yeah.
Should it not?
There's no doubt.
But it's not going to be. It's not good. I mean, I was tempted to take Cleveland in the points. I mean, it's not going to be, right? I mean, Brady, is it going to be?
I think if there was that one that was going to be, I think it'd be this one back-to-back. You want to, get this one out of the way early. Coming off 2 days, without a game, that's probably the big one. Jimmy Butler this season with 2 days off has scored 28, 27, 26, 20, and 18, and 4 of those were wins. So I just think that this is a game with Jimmy Butler first half, takes care of business. You throw some guys in, late to just, try to stay steady, and then you come out tomorrow against Charlotte, who you continue to struggle with.
Do we know anything about the Hero injury, Greg?
No, totally quiet. I mean, obviously things came back clean, but I think that to me was kind of a telegraph that they're kind of maybe a little dumbfounded as to what is ailing him. Because like if you go in and you're getting tested for stuff and you don't see anything, but then you continue to miss time, to me that suggests that
that
there's something
sounds
there.
familiar,
right? But maybe I'm looking and reading too much into it. It's just like for Spo to come out and say X-rays showed nothing or further tests showed nothing. I just felt like that was an interesting nugget to spit out there when he didn't have to.
He didn't even say that about Oladipo.
Exactly.
No information about Oladipo. Feels to me a little bit like maybe this is a case of just getting him to get his head right. Is that possible?
Yeah. like if I'm following you, almost like covering for him a bit.
Yeah.
Like being the buffer between him and the noise. Yeah.
I'm vaccinated, by the way. Anyway.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, but still coughing. Apparently, it's still a thing. If you out in public and you cough or sneeze now, seriously, it's like they shoot you on sight. Even if you're wearing a mask. Like, how could you? How could you cough or sneeze? Jonathan, let's look at these two games in totality. Because they should win this one. Hopefully they don't look ahead, but they probably will. But they got a big one tomorrow. Like, that's an important game. And everybody's back for Charlotte. Like, LaMelo Ball's back tonight. Malik Monk getting ready to drop 2 points tonight and 60 on Sunday against the Heat. They're both back. I mean, do you have to look at these games? I know it was mentioned by Brady. You try to get this one out of the way, right? Right, but I mean, you got to look at it as a 2-game package here.
Yeah, you can't overlook either one of these teams just because it's a back-to-back. You have to take each of these games as its own thing because we have to realize right now in the playoff race, every single game matters, right? We're only a half a game behind the 6th and 5th seed. We still have those 2 games against Boston, so that'll determine the tiebreaker. But these games all matter. Charlotte's right behind us. They're about 2.5 games behind us, so they're still in that distance range. Where if the Heat keep messing up and we keep dropping losses to bad teams, we're going to put ourselves in a bad position. So regardless of who we're playing,
the tiebreaker, Jonathan.
Exactly,
right? Or that's already gone. No matter what happens on Sunday.
You guys think LaMelo Ball and these guys are going to play off a back-to-back?
That's the question. But here's the thing: LaMelo Ball didn't hurt his legs, right?
That's true.
I mean, depending on where his conditioning is, but I mean, they're in a playoff chase. Like for them,
he's young guys,
and for that team and for that owner, okay, making the playoffs this season would be significant to get LaMelo Ball into some play-in games, and to kind of see what they have. There's been a lot of criticism, and they finally have gotten some picks right the past couple of years. I feel like they're pushing to. They're one of those teams. Them and the Knicks have a lot to gain by making the playoffs. The Knicks sort of cement themselves as legitimate for free agents. Charlotte cements itself as a team that's actually on the rise. I feel the same with Atlanta. So, I mean, you're in the mix. Let me pivot here to what happened last night. I was following whether the Dolphins were going to draft a running back. So I didn't really – I just looked at the score, and I was like, what the hell just happened here? That win for Boston, like, I feel like their season was going down the tubes last night.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, I'll come back in a second. Boom, 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 boom. There
You're
we go.
back.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, they're trying to get it downstairs. I mean, they're trying to deliver Chinese food to me. I probably should take it. But the point is, like, if you like, that could be a win that propels them, right?
Yeah,
like
it saved the season. I mean, that's season-saving stuff right there.
Mm-hmm. Are we worried about them? I mean, they have a star, right? They have a superstar kind of borderline, and then they have a star behind him. Do they work? I mean, you got 2 games left with them in their building.
That's gonna solve that will decide everything. And I would rather play Atlanta or New York.
Yeah,
I would agree.
You don't want to play Jason Tatum, and something I mentioned last night, which is interesting, is that it just shows the difference in players that you're talking about when you're comparing Miami and Boston, because you're talking about a guy, Jason Tatum, last night who puts up 37 shots. And you look at Miami's season, the most shots that Butler and Adebayo have combined for this season is 37.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of shows the differences in players, and you do not want to play a player in a playoff series like that who's capable of dropping 60 on any given night.
Doesn't Jimmy need to watch what happened last night and just say, look, I'm going to give Bam an opportunity to go, but if he doesn't go, I got to go. Right? I mean, aren't we at that stage of the season? He's got 9 games left. Right? He doesn't want to play in. He don't want to. I mean, of anybody. Like, he wants the week. He knows Goran needs the week. I got to think that Jimmy's shot attempts have got to come up here over the next week and a half.
Agree.
But Jason Tatum
go
is
time
23.
right now, right? Because these
right.
Go ahead.
No, Jason Tatum's 23, I was saying, because we're talking about Jimmy, who's, a veteran player that just needs to get to the playoffs. He talks about that. Jason Tatum's capable of doing it. Bam Adebayo is capable of doing it at this age. I don't think it's, good to rely against a Spurs team, against a Cavs team, against a Hornets team to put up 37 shots from Jimmy Butler. Because even looking, I think it was against the Spurs that Jimmy Butler had his most shot attempts in a Miami Heat uniform, which was, what was it, 23? Something like that. In that
Crazy.
range.
That's that low.
And that just kind of shows the difference of players.
I mean, that would be a half for Dwayne if they needed it. I mean, that's kind of where we're at, right? Hell, that would be a half for Dion.
A couple third quarters against the Knicks, he may have put up 20 field goal attempts.
Well, after Danilo Gallinari made him bleed his own blood, yes, that definitely happened. I was there at that game. All right, let's get to it tonight. I said that the number's 10.5. BUSR.com/5RSN if you want to play it and get yourself a 30% bonus. Also, prizepicks.com. Play the under on Curry tonight. Just a suggestion. I think he's 34 and a half points. They're playing Houston. He may get to 30 in the first three quarters, but he ain't playing the fourth. Okay, I don't think so. We'll see what happens. I mean, he'll end up scoring 85 after I said that. But if you want to play a Prize Picks, go to prizepicks.com and use the code 5. All right, let's finish up. Yes, Ricky, the shots are noted, and the shots were made against the Knicks. By the way, Ricky, shots noted, shots made. This is about Bam being a beta, which is another conversation that we've had many, many times, but we appreciate the comment. All right, let's get to it tonight. Let's do it by the number, because I'm not going to ask you if they're going to win or if they're going to lose, because if they lose this game, we're shutting down 5 on the floor. Over or under? They cover the 10.5 or not, Jonathan?
Yes, sir. They cover it. They win by 13.
Brady?
Yeah, I think they cover it. I think this is a game you have to win by at least 15 to 20.
All right. Greg?
So they have covered against Cleveland.
Yeah.
They have covered against the spread 74.7% of the time in the last 16 matchups.
Did you find that in the same place that our guy J-Rod Show did? Because he dropped that exact same damn stat on me on whatever last time we did our show.
Could have been.
Okay.
I can't reveal my sources. No.
Well, it could be the
it's
Five
the
Reasons.
Yahoo Sports app.
It could be the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Alejandro, they cover 10.5?
No, they win by 8 tonight.
I think they win by 9. I think it's a backdoor cover for Cleveland at the end, late 3. If I'm telling you, we're shutting this thing down. Thank you very much. Heat by 9 from Baby Shack. Appreciate it. Check out our sponsors. I gotta get my Chinese. Biscayne Bay Brewing, insurancebyLynette.com. We will be back post game. There's no way Greg's staying up for this one, so it'll be Alex and I.
I'm up. You're stuck with me.
You know what? Let's see. Let's do it over under on that. When does Greg fall asleep? Second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Brady?
Third quarter. Go.
Let's say halftime.
I say 2. Jonathan?
I was going to say third quarter when we usually hit that slump.
Yeah.
Damn. You guys have no faith in me. We'll see. I'll be
7.
tweeting through it.
I give him 7. I always look. I'm like, are they tweeting? Is Alex tweeting?
Yeah, that's the tell for me.
That's usually how I know. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to tweet through this thing. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, now next we're gonna listen from Duncan Robinson.
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Over the past month, I guess in April, the month just ended, but over the past month, the offense has seemed to tick up a little bit, just the numbers. What would you say has been the biggest reasons for that? I know some of it's just make or miss, making more open shots, but what have you noticed about what's been better on that side of the court for you guys recently?
I think we're playing well offensively. We're really organized. We got good spacing. The ball's going where it needs to go, and it's in the right people's hands. So I think that's helped. Just everybody get on the same page in terms of that. We've had a kind of ever-changing roster this year, new acquisitions and guys out of the lineup. So obviously, I think just developing some continuity also helps as well. So I think it's a combination of things.
And then just one in the season overall. Last season was unique in the bubble and finishing there and being away from home and being isolated. But how much of a grind has this season been? Now that you're coming, to the final weeks of the regular season, just how tough has it been? Has it been tougher than you expected? Just going through this, all these games and this condensed schedule.
Yeah, it's definitely been a challenge. We're not alone in terms of the only team that's going through it. Obviously, everybody's going through it's kind of the new normal that we're all adjusting to. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. this is kind of blended in some respects with the bubble, and it just kind of feels like this dead out sprint, just because we're playing every other night and a whole bunch of back-to-backs mixed in there. Like I said, everyone's going through it, so you can gain a competitive advantage if you as a team are willing to kind of wrap your minds around what everyone's going through. So definitely been a challenge, but once again, try to keep everything in perspective. This is the thing we got to complain about the most, and we're all doing pretty well.
Thanks, Duncan.
Yeah.
All right, Ira Winderman, go ahead.
Hey, Duncan, I know now that more of your attempts are coming inside the arc. I'm just curious, when you make your dashes inside the paint, do you think your opponents still are looking at you as decoying and that you're going to wind up curling or heading back out? And do you think that maybe sort of you catch them by surprise when they think you're just, I guess, passing through?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the cuts and stuff are a change of pace of what I'm normally doing, but it's been a pretty steady diet of back cuts this whole year, and I think that stuff is starting to gain some recognition, and that a lot of it's not necessarily myself, cutting, but more so the ability that we have guys are able to make those passes, because those aren't easy passes, in the paint and kind of through hands and limbs. But yeah, I mean, it's always an opportunity to keep the defense honest, right? If they're getting too comfortable with guarding me a certain way, it's a good kind of change of pace, I guess, in that regard. So obviously, I think the main thing, defense is try to keep the main thing with me in terms of not letting me get threes, but it definitely kind of can open some things up. I'm able to loosen myself up for some backup.
It seems to me the eye test says something different, but I went back and checked the numbers today. Last season, 88% of your attempts were on three-pointers. This year, 85% of your attempts are on three-pointers. Doesn't it seem a lot different? It just feels like you're a more active player inside the arc this season.
I appreciate that. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think, numbers obviously tell a story, but it's just, one part of the story. I think everything, needs to be evaluated in context. And I think the eye test does matter, and that field does matter. So, you just try to take everything into account. I feel like I've improved and expanded and just become more difficult to guard in that respect. Not just being as much of a one-trick pony. Obviously, my three-point shooting, spacing has always been my calling card, but the more I can diversify, the more effective I can be.
And the last one from me, and again, I always find this confounding, and it's another pattern that maybe is not as borne out as stats as what it looks like. But the first foul of the game, just like you're the first three-pointer of a game, it just seems every stinking game, 25 seconds in, on the most meager of contacts, there's a Duncan Robinson foul, as if you start the game with one. How confounding is that? And is that something you've sensed also, that like, why me first? There were four other guys on the team. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed it. It's something I could certainly do better. I'll definitely take accountability for that. Also understanding this situation, and that, I don't warrant the respect, and kind of maybe the leeway that other players, on our roster, guys like Jimmy who has that defensive reputation to be physical. So, it's kind of just what comes with it. I got to be more kind of aware, I guess, of just kind of preserving and protecting, and just being solid, in those instances.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Duncan.
Yeah.
All right, we bring Anthony Chiang back. Go ahead.
Hey, Duncan, sorry, I had one more to kind of go off of Ira's question. When you get into the paint this year, you've been really effective as a finisher. I think you're shooting like 80% at the rim this season. How would you explain that? Like, is that just the work you've been doing in the offseason behind the scenes to expand your package, around the rim, or is it your height, where you're able to use that to your advantage? How would you explain just your efficiency around the rim this season?
I think you can't overlook the shot selection. It's not like I'm taking tough floaters or anything like that. A lot of my shots, I'm very selective. Usually I'm not getting the ball in there unless I'm pretty open. So of course, that helps, being just kind of prudent in my decision making in there. And then the other one is, I feel like I've worked it a lot. Obviously I'm not an elite, high volume finisher, but I do feel like I have solid touch and feel around the rim, and an ability to understand, how and the angles and areas in which I can get shots off. So it's definitely something I've improved and developed. Testament to the staff for kind of pushing me in that area.
Thanks, Duncan.
Yeah. Cheers. Bye.
All right, Duncan. Thank you.
The most important thing and the only thing that matters, but to be the sixth person to win 600 with one franchise, what is that? That has to mean a little something to you.
Yeah, I had no idea until UD mentioned it, after the game. I don't. It is humbling. Obviously, I always think about Pat and Mickey. Just for having this incredible opportunity to be able to coach with this franchise. I feel a great responsibility to do it the right way for something that they started and created. And then I always think about what Pat told me when he first told me I was going to be the head coach. He said, just embrace it, enjoy it, do the best that you can every single day. He said, but it's going to go by like that. You're going to blink and it's going to be 10 years into your career. And I was thinking to myself, like, I was overwhelmed at the time, just thinking about, all right, what's the next step? Press conference, whatever. And I'm thinking, he's crazy. Like 10 years, like that's felt like 100 years to me. And here I am, already 13 years in. It's humbling to be able to work for, the people that I do, to provide such a great work environment and a great culture. I love the people I work with.
At the 17-0 run tonight, if you blinked, that was over in a second too, like those first 10 years of your career were. How important was that spurt? Because again, it was, it had been kind of back and forth, but that's when, as you would say, that's when you really put your stamp, I thought, on the game, was those 4 or 5 minutes on the defensive end.
Yeah. Look, we're going to be going through a lot of these kind of games. And I think all of these experiences and the emotions and managing the game, the context of the game and fighting against the competition, all of these things are great experiences, to go through. And I think that we handled some things better. It's a game of runs. It's a game of skirmishes throughout the course of the game. And, we won, probably the majority of the skirmishes, but they did a great job of like coming back every single time. But I think we've managed those moments a little bit better, tonight. It still, became harrowing at the end, but you have to expect that. And then hopefully you can grow and learn from it.
Thanks, sir.
Next we'll go to Anthony Chang.
Hey, so obviously you guys signed Dewayne with the idea of him impacting the game on both sides with his size and just his presence. But is it a little bit of a surprise where he's able to give you what he gave you tonight, especially in that third quarter, just a couple weeks after he signed, after not playing for the first 3 or 4 months?
Yeah, look, you have to be objective about it. When somebody's been out that long, you don't know, without a training camp, without the bubble experience, that's a lot of time off. And you don't know how, players are going to respond. But like I said, when we signed him, he kept himself at a very high fitness level. He really takes care of his body. So I think that helped him immensely. And then, it's not like he's a young, inexperienced player. He's a veteran, experienced player who's played in a lot of systems. And he's been a starter, for a decent portion of his career. So now if you just compact those minutes into what we're doing, 15 to 18 minutes, it's all energy. It's all everything that he does, and he empties the tank, which is great. He was incredible, and it's we haven't been able to do that, to be able to have that many minutes with Bam on the bench and make a run. And I think that was a big time credit to Dewayne.
Thanks, Bill.
Next we'll go to Ira Winderman.
Erik, for as much as Jimmy and Bam provide you, there's always a need for a sort of a support system. what Kendrick gave you by coming back from the injury, and also what Goran gave you by going back to that six-man role. How crucial were those two contributions as well?
Really important. I think our pace was better, and that didn't necessarily translate to fast break points. But getting into our actions earlier, save for those last 3 or 4 minutes, then it really started to slow down. But getting into our actions earlier, to have more time to manage the clock and work different options, I think was more intentional tonight. And both Kenan and Goran did a really good job of that. Kenan really established himself in the first half. Goran established himself and put his imprint on the game in the second half. And that's what you need against quality opponents in this kind of, competitive run. You're going to have pockets, are able to contribute.
Thank you. Congratulations on 600.
Thank you.
Next we'll go to Cooper Moorhead.
Yes, but with Dewayne, the last few years of his career, especially during his time in Atlanta, he had been trying to space his game out, and his three-pointers were going up. He hadn't been doing a ton of offensive rebounding. I'm guessing when he came here, the marching orders were a little bit different because he hasn't been picking and popping hardly at all.
Yeah, and look, he still can shoot. Like, I always say this too. I even said it about Bam. Like, everybody's talking about how much he's improved his shooting in mid-range. The most important thing that Bam's improved has been his 15-foot free throw shot. The fact that, he can go up there and be one of our best, free throw shooters really is such an asset. And same thing with Dewayne. He's physical. He as a presence at the rim, so he's going to get fouled. He's a really good free throw shooter. He still can shoot the three, so I see it every day, in practice. We need a little bit something different, and that's not to say that we might not explore other things as we move on. But simplification right now is probably the most important thing, and he's a live, active, multiple effort player, which is what we need.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Brady Hawk.
Hey, Coach. When looking at Kendrick and Goran sharing the floor a lot more this season, their minutes have been pretty good offensively. Just what have you noticed from their minutes together, and how do you notice them benefiting from each other on the floor?
Yeah, it was something that I didn't really wasn't like jumping off the screen or in our reports and reviews until about like 2 weeks ago. Started to notice more and more that the combination was actually being pretty effective. So it's something that we'll continue to explore. We need the playmaking right now. Both of those guys, when they're at their highest confidence level, make our offense much more dynamic.
And next we'll go to Mateo Miarga.
Hello, Coach. How pleased are you when you check the box score and you see 5 of your players had at least 18 points? Thank you.
Yeah, it's one of the things too from the first Chicago game where we had 4 guys over 20. But again, I think our group is a very unselfish group. So the ball will move. When it doesn't move, I think it's more a function of not being really intentional. That's not, guys trying to get their own. So I think we're more intentional of getting into our offense quicker and with more pace, and more guys can be threats when that happens.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, we'll start with Ira Winderman. Go ahead.
Jimmy, I know you're willing to do anything and everything that's asked, but how nice is it to have a support system where guys like Kenan and Goran and Dewayne can step in today and contribute also, and maybe make the lifting a little easier for both you and for Bam?
It's great, but that's how we play all year long. That's how we're going to continue to play. We're going to do this thing together. Whenever we win, we're going to do it together. Whenever we lose, and I count on these guys. I lean on these guys to do their job, and I think tonight they did it in a fantastic way.
I know that you sort of know that Dewayne's a career professional. He's done this in a bunch of places before, but
Are you surprised at all how seamless it's been that he's been able to step in and sort of play the role you've needed really seemingly for a while, the tough rebounder, the screens, the block shots, and just to be there to sort of pick up the scraps?
First of all, he's over there talking extremely loud. But outside of that, it's easy whenever you play with a bunch of guys that play the right way and that want to pass the ball. And he plays incredibly hard. He's unselfish. He takes all the right shots. We actually probably want him to shoot the ball a little bit more, especially on like pick and pops. But he's a pro's pro. He comes in, he stars in his role, and he's not handed anything. I think he's earned every trip up and down that floor and every minute that he's been given.
Is there a sense you maybe are turning a corner a little, the way you finished off a tight game in the fourth quarter?
Don't jinx us. Don't jinx us. Don't do that. We just won. Let's just leave it at that. We won. We're going to take it. Not me. Want to drink some Michelob Ultra, you heard me?
Thanks, Jimmy.
Yep.
All right, Brady Hawk, 5 reasons. Go ahead.
Hey, Jimmy. When Bam is attacking the basket and getting to the free throw line like he was tonight, just how much does that change your offense and give you guys a boost in different stretches?
It does great things for us. Obviously, we're getting to the bonus. He's putting points on the board, but he's damn near unguardable whenever he's playing like that, because now you get in there, you get into the paint, everybody got to help. Now you're kicking it out to your shooters. We want him to play like that. We want him to stay aggressive because crazy part is he's a pass first player. So as soon as he get in there, he's probably looking to pass before he looked to dunk on somebody like he did tonight. But we want him. We need him to be that way.
All right, Cooper Moorhead, Heat.com, go ahead.
Apologies for the question, not entirely related to the game, but I'm just curious as to how in year 2, how has your relationship with Spo changed this year?
Hell, not much. Keep it real with one another. We got in a little predicament tonight, but it's nothing new. Everything's not all good all the time, but we both want to win. We both have the same agenda. So I think that he's helping me grow a tremendous amount, talking about leadership as a player and what to look for with my guys. And he's making sure that I put a lot of trust in my teammates and in my young guys, and I appreciate him for it. But it's the same. It's been like that since last year.
Thank you.
All right, Christos Saltas, SDNA Greece, go ahead.
Hello, Jimmy. Congratulations on the win. How important for the team and what it means the way that you respond tonight and close out the game with a proper way? And about you, how important do you feel that you play the best basketball of your career overall on both ends of the floor?
That's what this time of the year is for, not just for myself, for everybody on this roster, for all the coaches. We all got to do our job tenfold, do everything we can to make sure that we win the game. But we got a group that does it, might be tired, but everybody's showing up. Injuries might be nagging, but everybody trying to hoop. You got to respect it and go out there and compete, grind, win as many as possible.
And what impressed you most about your team at this point of the season?
That ups and downs is part of it. Don't get too high, don't get too low, stay right there in the middle and stay together more than anything. I think we do a great job of that. It's not always looking good, sounding good, but at the end of the day, we realize that we're the only ones that can change it for the better, and we're sticking with one another.
All right, Jimmy, that's it. Thank you.
All right, man. Y'all want some Michelob Ultra, come over to my house.
She said, after talking to Travis, I realized.
All right, that was Jimmy Butler a couple of nights ago after they won that game. You guys heard him talking to Ira Winman. So this is the starting five for the Miami Heat tonight against the Cleveland Cavaliers. No, not this one. This one right here is going to be Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Trevor Ariza, and Bam Adebayo. Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Trevor Ariza, and Bam Adebayo, the same lineup they've been using in the last couple of games. And hopefully they can get a win, an important win, to try to tie the sixth place in hands of the Boston Celtics. Let's go ahead now and listen to Dewayne Dedmon and Bam Adebayo before we go and listen from the Cleveland Cavaliers coach.
working out honestly this well and this quickly when you've been away from the game so long? Or did you figure as long as you've been around, you just step back into it and do what you do?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's basketball. Whether I was, playing for somewhere else or sitting on the couch at the crib, I was just ready to come here and just have fun and play basketball again. That's what I was looking forward to.
Does this role sort of suit you that you can give all your energy, and whether it's fouls or not a lot of minutes, you know that Bam's going to get a lot of the time, and you could just sort of be the energizer and just basically do the every last ounce kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it works out. It's been working out so far. So, I mean, I'm not really here to complain about my minutes or whether I'm playing, not playing. I'm just here to have fun and do what I do when I get on the court, and it's working out for the team.
And do you sort of feel a value in that you can give Bam the rest? There have been times this season with other guys here where every minute Bam went out, it was like hold your breath kind of deal, that you at least can allow a player who works that hard to truly catch his breath and not have to worry when he comes out of the game what might happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good when you give your starters a good amount of rest. You know what I'm saying? So he come out the game, I come in, I'm just ready to produce and let him catch his breath.
Nice of you. Thank you, Dwayne.
All right, next we'll go to Anthony Chang.
Hey, Dwayne. The past few seasons before you came here, you were stretching your game and shooting more threes. Obviously, this season, most of the points coming around the basket. What's been different about the way they've used you and what they've kind of told you how they want you to play, along the guys on the roster?
I mean, they really haven't told me like a specific way to play, or they didn't tell me not to shoot threes. I mean, that's something that I've just kind of decided on my own, just trying to fit into the offense. I'm not trying to force anything, just trying to be in the right spots for the team, make sure we, got the right spacing. So, that's just what I'm doing.
Did you notice that your name was misspelled in the back of your jersey? Like, when did you learn that, and who told you?
What was that? At the timeout, they had told me. I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I had faith. My name was spelled right, threw it on, put my warm up on. But yeah, it was all right though. You know what I'm saying? That's my guy Rob. You know what I'm saying? He held me down, so I ain't tripping. It's all right.
Thanks, Dwayne.
No problem.
Next we'll go to Tim Reynolds.
Dwayne, to follow up on that, does the misspelled jersey become a bit of a collector's item for you now, or?
No, not at all. Because you know what I'm saying, that's not my name. Right. And that's actually something when I was in elementary school, I used to get in a lot of fights over that. People used to call me that. So it's not my name.
But Rob is
Rob's my guy. You know what I'm saying? Good. Like I told him, I was like, it's all good, man. Don't worry about it.
He's good people. He's good people. So that's important.
Yeah, he looked out for me when I was here in summer league, so we good.
Good. Dwayne, it seems as though, the Heat have always been, it's always defense, first. Always. It's been the way here. It seems like you have really embraced that approach as well. The points are nice and getting to the rim and all that is fun, but it seems like you've embraced that defense first mentality. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah, that's my whole career has been based kind of on defense first. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I went to Atlanta, he was able to stretch the floor, things like that. But it's always been a defensive mentality for me first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about getting stops, and the offense will come.
Thank you.
All right, Dwayne, that's it. Appreciate it.
For sure. Y'all have a good one.
Is it when you can have nights like this where there's a real support system in place for you and Jimmy, when Dwayne is doing what he does off the bench, when K-Nun's giving you wing play in the starting lineup, when Goran's giving you wing play in the reserve lineup? How nice is it that there's a lot of sort of options on the menu so it doesn't just have to be you and Jimmy?
It's great. Me and Jimmy love passing the ball. We love getting our teammates involved instead of it just being me and Jimmy. So, it's great for us, great for our team. And, it's good that everybody's, has confidence in themselves and, making plays and doing the things that's helping us win. So it's good for all of us, not just me and Jimmy.
When you look at this playoff race, there's no chance for an exhale tonight. The Knicks won, the Celtics won. You're still there at 7, tied with Boston. You're sort of sensing the urgency of the moment, and how much does that sort of factor into your approach over these final 9 games?
We know what we're supposed to do. Like it's not shocking anybody in our locker room. Like we know what we have to do. Now we're gonna have ups and downs, but we're trying to stay consistent and pull out these wins. So, you know, that's the best way. As long as we get to play like that, the way we're having fun, you know, sharing the basketball, everybody making shots, I'm picking this team over anybody.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Tim Reynolds.
Tim, back up. Yo, appreciate you, Deuce.
Hey, Jimmy.
Don't think about me tomorrow. Bam, can you take us through the dunk? I won't even specify which one because you know which one.
I thought I missed it at first. And I thought it was a foul, but I looked at the replay, it was clean. So took my dunk and went down the court. But great moment for me. I feel like it was definitely a momentum switch for us. So good to have that moment.
And another key moment, obviously, I think you got fouled like 4 times on the putback with a minute to go. I know Rudy got you for at least one of those times, maybe twice. Just how big a play was that for you?
Man, like I said, you know, those 2 plays, I feel like there was a momentum shift. So we definitely had a momentum on our side. You know, our crowd was into it. So good to get that one.
Thank you.
Next we'll go to Cooper Moorhead.
Bam, somehow Jimmy's 23 shots tonight are the most he's taken in a Heat uniform, including the playoffs. And I'm just wondering, you know, right. And, you know, Jimmy is unselfish and he's often one to feel out the game and try and get everybody involved. But do you get the sense that, you know, for him, it's even the playoffs aren't here yet, it's go time?
Yeah. I mean, we all know that. It's go time. Like, it's we're trying to make a push in these standings. So he's 8. What, we have 9 left? Yeah, it's go time. Like, there's no looking back. Like, we know what's ahead of us.
All right, next we'll go to Christos Saltas.
Hello, Bam. First of all, congratulations. Because of you, one guy is not barefoot anymore.
Huh?
About the kicks that you sign, it's not this guy is not barefoot anymore.
Yeah, you're not barefoot no more.
I would like to ask you, how important is to keep that effort of tonight's game to maintain it until the end of the season, and what it means the way that you close the game tonight?
I mean, the way we played tonight, I feel like we play consistent like that through these last 9 games. You know, we're gonna be okay. And you know, I feel I don't believe that. You know, my teammates, they believe me and Jimmy to make plays, and we did that tonight. But they also made big shots for it. So, you know, when everybody's in the rhythm and everybody can get, you know, touches and make shots, it's good for all of us.
Next we'll go to Brady Hawk.
Hey, Bam. When you're getting to the line like you were tonight, do you notice any changes in the way you're being defended or possibly things opening up a bit more in different spots on the floor?
Yeah, they'll switch it up. But, you know, that's when my IQ kicks in and just got to figure out how to guard me or how to guard the scheme against the play where I have the ball.
All right, Bam, that's it. Appreciate it.
Black Lives Matter, people.
All right. That was Bam Adebayo a couple of nights ago after they beat the San Antonio Spurs. Let's go and review the starting lineup for the Miami Heat tonight. Then we'll listen to the Cleveland Cavaliers coach, and we'll be done with our pregame show today on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. So this is the starting lineup for the Miami Heat tonight. It's going to be Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Trevor Ariza, and Bam Adebayo. That's going to be the starting 5 tonight. Again, going backwards, Bam Adebayo, Trevor Ariza, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, and Kendrick Nunn. That's the starting 5 for the Miami Heat tonight. So let's go ahead and close this pregame show with this media conference from the Cleveland Cavaliers coach.
Get started with Angel.
Angel Gray, Valley Sports, Ohio. Coach, how are you doing today? Well, I guess it was hard. I'm doing well. Just to start, Coach, I know that a lot of your offense is built around playmakers on the floor. With you being without Larry, Isaiah, Darius tonight, what goes into planning how the offense should look in the situation when you're missing so many playmakers?
I think it becomes a little bit more structured and less, freelance. Like when you have those guys on the floor, they're extremely imaginative and creative. So you allow them the freedoms, to create more opportunities. When you lose those guys, you find more structure and more patterns and more, succinct execution. Kevin obviously is still capable of playmaking. Bull can play make, Jetty can play make. So we're not completely without those playmakers. But again, the way you'll have to balance the rotation and those things, you're gonna have to be a little bit more controlling, call more sets, dictate the tempo that way, but making sure, guys who haven't had to play a lot are in positions where they can feel comfortable.
And with you having 9 games left and the schedule doesn't get any easier from here, especially in the East, these guys are playing for something, everyone that you're facing in the next couple of games. What's your message to the young guys and what you want them to learn in being in these moments?
I mean, this is why we do what we do. Living in the moment of being the underdog, that's what competition is about. And when you can rally with your teammates and go into, adverse situations and circumstances, with your back against the wall and nothing to lose, that's when it's fun. You can play freely, but you can go out and just scrap and you can go out and just leave it all on the floor. And that's what the message to our guys is, go out, compete as hard as you possibly can, but most importantly, do it together. And that's when, the joy of competition really shines through.
Thank you.
Kelsey.
Kelsey Russo, The Athletic. Hey, JB.
Hey, Kelsey.
It's kind of a broader question, but I know that obviously with all the injuries you guys have dealt with all season, but when you evaluate where this team is at now and the progress that they've made as a team, where do you see those areas the most? And is it where you would want to be? I mean, again, like I said, I know the injuries have thrown such a factor, but where is that in the progression that you wanted to be throughout this season?
I think overall we took a step in the right direction. If you look at where we were last year defensively, I think this year we've definitely taken steps in the positive direction. Again, offensively, the same thing, like the way we share the ball, how we play together, our assist numbers and those things. I think we've taken steps in the right direction for sure. Obviously there's frustration there because, we haven't had the opportunity to have our entire group together much. So to really get a balance of what this roster is has been difficult. But when I watch us play stylistically, we're doing the right things. We're moving the ball to one another. We're creating open shots for one another. And I think that's the most important thing and the foundation that we've been talking about laying all year.
And then kind of like in this instance, when, like you said, you haven't had a chance to truly fully see for an extended period of time what you guys look like, does the individual growth kind of also stand out more to you? Like we've talked about Darius and Colin and Isaac. Do you look at the individual improvements more in those instances?
I think we always look at those because that's, why we're here. As coaches, we're here to teach. So you want to see if your students are learning and if they're advancing. So we pay close attention to that. And again, when you look at those guys from day one till now, they're better basketball players than they were when we started this season. I would throw Jared in that mix as well. He's a better player now than when we got him. And that's a credit to our assistant coaches, and how hard they work with guys every single day. But I definitely think, they have made huge strides.
John.
Hey, Coach. John Crowdy with the Miami Heat. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, John?
Good.
Just was curious if you could share who would be starting with Garland out, who you plan to put into that guard position.
I'm gonna hold off on that, John.
All right. Following up on Jared Allen, you talked about him a little bit earlier. What's been the impact that he's had in your last 22 games with you guys? What have you liked that he's done? It seems like he's getting more of the opportunity and really, showcasing himself in a real positive way.
I think start with the defense, his intelligence on that end of the floor, his ability to protect the paint and protect the rim, his ability to play in the pick and roll and protect our guards and perimeter players. The way he reads and anticipates rotations, I think has been really, really good. And then offensively, I watch his footwork. And when he catches the ball in small spaces, he's on balance. He has the ability to change direction. And then he's got really good touch. His field goal percentage is high, and it's not just because of dunks. He makes, the little touch shots around the rim as well. So, and, you watch him the way he plays pick and roll. He makes the guards or perimeter players that he's playing with better because of how he sets the screen at the right angle. He knows when to flip the screen, when to hold the screen, all those things. So we've definitely been impressed and pleased to have J.A.
Thanks.
Chris.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Hey, JB.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, you mentioned how much of a competitor everybody is and they want to win, and you're in the same boat, obviously. I've been asking a lot of the guys this same question, but how do you handle the losing of this kind of season? Like, who do you lean on? Who do you talk to? What's your process in dealing with that so that it doesn't break you?
Well, I'm extremely fortunate. I can reach out to my dad at any moment. And his experience, we all know, how long his experience has run through the NBA and, even coaching in college. So that's, the benefit that I have. But to be honest with you, Chris, the way I see it is you have no choice but to show up tomorrow. It's not in our nature to cower away from challenges. And that speaks to your character internally, I see absolutely no other way than to show up and fight tonight. And that's what we try to instill in our guys, that no matter the circumstances, no matter the job you have in front of you, you have to face that job head on. And that's not just basketball. That's, life in general. When things are thrown at you, you've got two choices. You can fight or you can run. And running isn't an option.
Thank you.
Tim.
Tim Elkhorn, Cavs Radio. Hey, JB.
Hey, Tim.
To follow up what Chris just asked you there, earlier in the year when the Cavs lost 10 in a row, you really credited the guys for their fight and their grit, that they didn't kind of wilt per se. And now you're in another one of those, tough moments where you've lost 8 out of 9. Do you sense that it's wearing the guys down, though, that they're worn out from not seeing the success on the floor that you'd like to see?
No. Again, I feel like the guys are committed to what we're doing. And more importantly, they're committed to one another. And, that's the most important thing is that they stay together. They stay for the bigger purpose and the larger picture. And I don't think our guys have wavered from that at all. It is difficult. We don't get in this business to lose. We get in it to compete and for, what winning feels like. And that's how our guys feel. But, they go out together and they go compete. They show up tonight and they go compete. So I don't have any doubt in my mind that our guys are committed to what we're doing. And again, most importantly, they're committed to one another.
JB, to follow up on that, you talk about the fight and the grit and, you were just asked, about you and how it comes from you. Do the players, does it come from you or does it come from them internally, or is that a combination of both?
It's a combination of both. Being in position of leadership, your responsibility is to impact your group. And then we have leaders on the floor as well, and they impact their group, and they lead when necessary, and they pull when necessary. So I think it's a combination of, we create a type of environment, and as coaches and as leaders, and then the guys are the ones who carry out that environment and that culture. And grit and competition is something that we strive for, and we talk about every single day. And our guys believe in it and they live it.
Thanks, Jimmy.
We'll do 2 more, Ashley and then Kelsey. Ashley, go ahead.
Ashley Bastock, Akron Beacon Journal. JB, to follow up on that, I guess when you're talking about creating this environment, I guess just how do you as a head coach, create an environment like that where you are striking that balance, where obviously the ultimate goal is to win, but acknowledging you are facing some serious adversity right now and have to put up a fight kind of regardless?
Again, it's the way I see it is there's no other choice. Waking up in the morning and running is just not an option. And that's the message that we send to our guys every day. Laying down is not an option, regardless of, the circumstances or whatever's in front of you. Like, that is not an option. Again, testament and credit to our players for their character. They're not running. They're not laying down. Some nights we may get beaten, battered, but they show up the next night and they do the same thing over and over again. They give it to us. They lay it on the line. So, it's difficult. Don't get me wrong. It's not easy because, we are all motivated by success. But again, we keep holding the group together and, we keep pulling, we keep pushing to go out there and give our best every single night.
Last one, Kelsey.
It's just a really quick follow-up. With it being the second game of a back-to-back, is Kevin available? So was he still playing?
Yeah, Kevin's
still
available.
playing. Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see y'all post-game.
All right, thank you very much for joining us here. And we will be back during the game, of course, with our live score. And as usual, we will be doing our post-game show, the post-op, hosted by Royal Shepherd. So we are not streaming live here. Don't believe the comments here. Ryan is just playing with you, Erik. We just don't play the game here. We don't have the copyright to do so, but thank you very much for asking. So before we go, we want to review a little bit real quick the starting 5 for the Miami Heat tonight. It's going to be Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Trevor Ariza, and Bam Adebayo. Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Trevor Ariza, and Bam Adebayo. That's the starting 5 for the Miami Heat tonight against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Thank you very much for joining us. For all of you that got here, that went throughout the entire show, the entire production, thank you very much again. And we will see you later tonight, hopefully after a Miami Heat win against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Have a good night and see you later.